You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Fourcast. It is the A-Team tonight with myself.
Guys.
Mayhem. We should have A-Trap coming on here in just a minute. Doc may make an appearance as well, but tonight, as you can see with the title and the graphic, Richard Pryor tribute. So every month we'll be doing a tribute of a actor or comedian, and no better way to start it off than the great late Richard Pryor. And a little bit of backstory on him. I didn't know he's got 5 names: Richard, Franklin, Lennox, Thomas, Pryor. I did not know that at all. Born December 1st, 1940. Obviously, we know him as a stand-up comedian, actor, known for reaching a broad audience with a transcendent observation and storytelling style, and has influenced a ton of people. And if you can see in the description of the show, I listed some of those people. Let me pull that up real quick just so you can. And some of these I didn't know they were an influence, but George, Carlin, Dave, Attell, Martin Lawrence, Dave Chappelle, we obviously know that. Chris Rock, Colin, Quinn, Patrice O'Neill, Bill Hicks, Jerry Seinfeld, Jon Stewart, Bill Burr, Joey Diaz, Eddie Murphy, obviously, Louis C.K., and Eddie Izzard, which anybody seen that guy? That is probably one of the most interesting looking comedians I think I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yes.
So tonight we'll be paying homage to Richard Pryor. We'll play some clips, we'll laugh, we'll talk about our introduction to Richard Pryor. Join in the comments. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, X, all of those platforms. So join in wherever you're tuning in at. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. So first off, man, what was your introduction to Richard Pryor?
Oh gosh, Superman.
Oh.
The Superman movie. But before that, I mean, I was too young to really know what my grandfather was listening to. Yes, he had the Richard Pryor album, but it didn't dawn on me that was the same person. But Superman was the first one for me on TV, and then of course, Hear No Evil, See No Evil, Speak. Then that came, and but yeah, Superman was the first. I think Superman was the first one.
Yeah.
And then I went back and I saw where he played. I can't not for the life of me. I'm not going to remember these names, but and then there was a movie that I didn't know he was in where it like kind of started NASCAR what it is today. Mm-hmm. He was a moonshine runner, but yet he was so good at it that it kind of started like rally racing, like or kind of led into NASCAR. I can't think of the name of that movie, but those were my first introductions.
Yeah, and I got all his movies pulled up right here. What was that called? I know the movie you're talking about.
Yeah,
Grease Lightning.
Really was it
Grease Lightning? The first black NASCAR race winner.
I think so.
I think
that may have been it.
And it says it was loosely based on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you look at all of the films that he was in, TV shows, movies, I mean, he's had such a great impact. For me, it was probably Stir Crazy, and that was with him and Gene Wilder, which they had a great run. Those two in the movies and that they were in, and
right.
But yeah, I would probably say that. And then when you think of Car Wash, I mean, none of his stand-ups, I was not allowed to watch any of those.
Yeah.
Well, it was no way, unless it was on in the background and maybe I was hearing it, but
yeah,
actually sitting down and watching it, yeah, that was a no-go.
Yeah, I think I grew up a little different. It's like, hey man, you sit down. It was one of those, you knew what they were watching, you knew what they were listening to, right. Even though I didn't need to be watching it or listening to it. But you know, it was like, but I can see that those names that you called off that were inspired by, because it's like, this is what I want my comedy to be. I want it to be gripping. I want it to be shocking. Raw. I want it to be raw. I want it to be like what's her name? See, I also, you guys should go back and watch this. It's called I Am Richard or I'm Richard Pryor. It's free on YouTube. I think it's like a 90-minute thing about him. It came out in 2019, but I watched it like a few months ago, even before I knew we were going to do this.
Yeah.
And they've got Howie Mandel on there. They've got Howie Mandel. What's her other name? The chick from Night School. What's her name? Tiffany Haddish.
I don't know. For some reason, it's an echo.
Yeah, like.
Hey, Trap, I don't know what's going on there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, but I don't know, for some reason it's the echo when Wilkes.
Yeah. Pick up for some reason. Hello. Yeah, it's still picking me up.
Yeah, I don't know how it's doing that though.
I don't know if I can mute it.
What about now?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly, but somehow you and Wilkes are like interfering, like audio.
I think I'm. Yeah, it's picking me up for some reason. Yeah, it's like I'm coming through on his mic.
Yeah, but you don't hear echo when I'm talking though, right?
Now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's only picking me up for some reason.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, those things were something that I remember in watching that, which I didn't realize he grew up in a whorehouse. I didn't realize his granny had him. Well, not had him, but I guess he was introduced to drugs pretty early.
Yeah, pretty early on.
Yeah, I didn't know any of that. So watching that was like, wow, what in the world? I mean, he was thrown out there quick. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's what happens. I think that when you're thrown out there like that, you grow up. It forces you to grow up.
Yeah, fast.
It forces you to, hey, this is a lane I shouldn't even be in, but I'm in it.
Yeah.
Even what's his name was in there. Oh God, there's a few comedians in there, but Mike Epps is in there talking about, how Richard Pryor. Well, you should watch it. It's pretty good. It's free on YouTube.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
called
I'm,
I
I'm,
Am
def-
Richard.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. And they were working on at some point. They were working on a film with him. I think Mike Epps was supposed to play him in a film, but I don't know. Maybe it just never got off the ground. I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah.
I mean that would have been something great to see. I mean, get all
Absolutely.
these comedians and do a film on him.
Yeah.
Man, and then I mean, Harlem Nights is classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic one.
Was that his last performance, I guess, before he got sick?
I mean, he was in what 6 more movies after that. He was in Another You, the 3 Musketeers. I don't know.
Those sound like quiet tags. You see, this is what happened when you become Richard Pryor, and now it's like you're becoming Samuel Jackson. You just take any kind of roles.
Right.
He
was in Superbad.
He would, and I watched that damn movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It says as himself, he was in Superbad, and he was in Me, Myself, and Irene.
What?
It says he was a stand-up comedian on TV, so maybe that was something that he was watching.
Oh, I was going to say, I was like, I've seen these movies. Like, what? I was going to say, by that time, he was in a wheelchair, I thought.
Yeah. So it must have been more like footage.
Yeah.
It's probably what it was, more than actually him in an acting role.
Right.
But, yeah, man, his impact was definitely there. All right, let's try A-Trap, bring him back up again.
The dog going crazy.
Can you hear me?
Why does it keep me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Perfectly.
Okay. I don't know. Whenever Wilkes talks, it's like somehow.
For some reason, it's picking me up in his background while I talk. It's crazy. Maybe let me go out. Take me down. Then I'll come back.
Okay. All right. So, introduction. Okay. Yeah. Now it's doing it to me. Well, what audio? What's the speaker showing on your audio? StreamYard.
Let me go to settings.
Or maybe you got it playing in the background or something like that. No.
I'm on. Yeah, everything is normal.
It's weird. Like you can hear it echoing. All right. All right. So your introduction to Richard Pryor.
My introduction to Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I don't even remember my introduction to Richard Pryor. I don't even know Life Without Richard Pryor. My mom was a gigantic Richard Pryor fan. She had all his albums. So me and my sisters would probably sneak and listen to him. So we talking about my introduction to Richard Pryor. Maybe That N-Word Is Crazy, the album. I think I have one of those pictures. That picture right there. And that was the album. Came out, I think, and it had to be that N-Word Is Crazy, because then in '76 it was bicentennial N-Word. And my mom used to really like Richard Pryor. She introduced me to comedy, and inadvertently introduced me to comedy, which Richard Pryor is a seminal figure in comedy today, because I heard you guys when I was in the back. You were about to pull me up. I heard you guys saying about his background, and how you guys didn't know that he was raised in a whorehouse, and his grandma ran the brothel and things of that nature. Yeah, man, and his father's pretty much the muscle at the brothel. And man, this dude, I think he almost inadvertently introduced therapy to comedy, because a lot of people don't know about Richard is when Richard was breaking into the comedy world, he was trying to model himself as the next Bill Cosby. And he was on all the late night shows as the clean guy. He was the guy, he was the next guy. Then he just got tired of it. Then he became rich, and then he started talking about himself and his life. And then you got the Richard Pryor that we know today. So my introduction to Richard Pryor. Yeah, it just may be the albums. I don't know which one the album was, but I'm almost sure it's That N-Word Is Crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, he had a ton of albums.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, he had plenty of them. People would ride down the street listening to a 8-track.
Yeah, 8-track.
8-track in the car? Yeah.
Yeah, Rich was, man. I mean, he is the blueprint of comedy.
And he was born in Peoria.
Most definitely.
Now, I wonder at what time did he move from there. But his mother was Puerto Rican, which I didn't know that either. Man, that's a lot of information.
Yeah.
And he actually served in the Army from 1958 to 1960. But one thing A-Trap that I mentioned was he started off as that clean comic, and going on the late night shows, which that seemed to be that was like the regular route, to get to where you wanted to go.
Yeah, man. He was on, being on Carson. If you look up some old footage of Richard Pryor, he's in black and white. He looks just like Bill Cosby. You can clearly see what Bill Cosby was the influence in. And then that's the thing. When he went left, just like a lot of things now, you can be good at something, and then you bring controversy to the table, and the whole world starts paying attention to you and acting as if you've invented something when all you're doing is just being yourself.
Right.
So yeah, Richard Pryor, man. Richard Pryor, like anybody that knows me when it regards to entertainment, hip hop and comedy are two of my mainstays in regards to entertainment, and it's because you almost, it gives you the impression that you're getting to know the individual as they're performing their art, and that's what expression is. Word, spoken word. It's just a rhythm to it, and I've even heard Richard Pryor being referred to as Malcolm X with jokes.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
One of his most famous jokes is
because he spoke at an event that was in Los Angeles that was outside, like at some kind of amphitheater or something about rights, and he was joking, but he was serious, and it was just like, hey man, if these people want to do this and that, hey, that ain't none of my business,
Yeah.
It was like some kind of equal rights kind of thing or something. And then what? Huey P. Newton was at one of his shows. He like brought the lights up to introduce Huey P. Newton because he was in the crowd that night.
Yep.
Wow.
I mean, like when he did Stir Crazy, he spoke about going to jail, and he was like, man, when I went to jail, I knew I was gonna get justice. And he said, when I looked around the courtroom, I saw that's exactly what I got. Just us.
Just
Yeah.
Hey, that's a classic too.
Yeah.
Hey, that was actually on the Nas album. All right, so like I said, we got some clips we're gonna play tonight, and also we got some memories we're gonna talk about. So let's get into the first clip of the night. Thank you, A-Trap, for getting these sent over to me. So let's go to this first one, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
My wife slept with another man.
Have mercy! Did you hear what he said? He said his wife has lain with another man. Now what kind of low-life dog, scoundrel, snake in the grass would lay with another man's wife? Who is this person?
You lying son of a bitch. You the one that slept with my wife.
Oh Lord, please forgive this man that has come into your church to blaspheme. His mind is filled with lunacy. Have mercy on his soul. Now sit down, nigga, before I put this glove on your ass.
You made love to my wife when she came over here for spiritual guidance. And all you laid on her was your Johnson.
He's telling the truth. You have wronged this man and wronged me too.
I believe there's a attack of lunacy going around here that...
See? You've been messing around outside and not taking care of business at home. Now you done gave this man...
So that was Which Way Is Up.
Very Cat Williams-esque.
Yeah, man.
Delivery.
Yeah. Straight comedy, man. Straight comedy.
Hey, man.
Hey, talk about that clip, A-Trap.
Yeah, that is from Which Way Is Up, and like this is proof positive of the things that they tell you on the television is not always what you actually experience. They tell us that Eddie Murphy, which is probably my favorite entertainer ever. He was the first one to play multiple characters in this movie. Richard Pryor played himself. He played his father. He played the preacher, and I think he played another character in this as well. This shows you the versatility, and it shows you where Eddie Murphy and others have taken inspiration from. And even as we get down and kick the can down the road in regards to his life, I'm gonna see if you guys can make another connection to Richard Pryor, and when we get to another clip, and it'll show you how he set the blueprint for even people that we never even thought of. We never made the connection. And let me see if I wonder if you guys saw it. It's something I experienced. I saw it. I lived through it. Therefore, I saw it, and I want to see if you guys can pick up on it as well.
Yeah, let me pull up the graphic here real quick. Did it on the wrong one, but I'm gonna pull that up real quick. But yeah, he played. This is like the Clumps,
right?
Pretty much before the Clumps. So yeah, here he is playing the three characters with the beard, one with the mustache, one without the mustache. I mean, the dude was a legend, and he was, before his time, because that a lot more people later on down the line. And what didn't him and Bill Cosby have like a beef a little bit at one point? No. Or Bill Cosby didn't agree with some of his comedy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Bill Cosby he had a disdain for blue comedy. Bill Cosby was always cognizant of how the black community was perceived, so he wanted to put out the best possible image. And if you're trying to put out the best possible image, when you hear people using the N-word, when you use people using profanity in loose terms, it would offend you. Because just think about it. Bill Cosby is a man who hired a psychologist to put together the Cosby Show. Each episode, if you ever noticed, none of them ever got in trouble. It was one episode when Theo may have smoked weed, and what they did with that was they said, "Oh, Theo might have smoked weed," but they never put him in a position to where as he was gonna smoke the joint, it was just an accusation, and his parents supported him. They did that with intention. They
only had two episodes. There was one with was it Vanessa got drunk, and they played the shot game. But it was green tea, or no, it was just tea, because they were like, "Oh, come on!" They were like, "Come on!" But then, like you said, with Theo, it was the smoking, the joint. So it was just one of those things where it was like you said, they hardly got into any kind of trouble. Rudy may have got, hiding the dog that came in, but that was nothing.
Yeah, it was age appropriate mischief. So
right, exactly.
Who's through the lens to hire psychologists to never put an image that way out there. You got another dude that's telling me I'm a whorehouse. My mother was a prostitute. My father was a security, and my grandmother was the brothel owner.
Right.
You don't really want to hear that. You don't want to hear that because you understand the stereotypes that come along with being black. You understand the things that the stereotypes that will drum up. And you don't want anything to do with that. But hey, Rich is like, look, man, I'm telling you the truth. This is my life. I'm gonna make fun of it.
Yeah, the raw.
Right.
Yeah, and that makes me think, Eddie Murphy Raw, with the leather suits, and I don't know if there was a stand-up where Richard Pryor had a leather suit on, but he got it from him.
I think it was also that stand-up where he was wearing red. But I can only think it's probably mimicking. It's matter of fact, I don't know if it was the one he was in Vegas. I think he was doing that stand up. I think it was Vegas. He was wearing a red shirt, but I don't know if his pants were red, but it maybe burgundy or something. I think maybe that's where he was probably pulling from.
Yeah. He said the love of leather came from Elvis. He said Elvis was a superstar. And he really loved Elvis. And when I was younger, You know, even growing up in the 70s, I remember, you know, he would play Saturday matinees and Elvis movies, even though he was a horrible actor, would always be on there. Horrible,
True.
but hey, man,
True.
the man was appealing to women, and dudes thought he was cool, so they put him in movies.
Yeah, yeah. So his mother was Puerto Rican descent, and after Gertrude lost custody of him in court when he was 10, Pryor was raised primarily by his grandmother, Marie, a tall, strict woman who would slap him from any of his issues, but was still much loved by Richard. Pryor was one of 4 children raised in his grandmother's brothel, sexually abused at 7, and was expelled from school at the age of 14. So another thing, I didn't know he was expelled from school at that early age. Fortunately, it says he met Juliet Whitaker, the head of the Carver Center theater program and the center's resident bohemian at this formative juncture in his life. Juliet learned to live by the motto, you shoot for the moon, you're bound to hit a star, but if you never shoot, you'll never hit anything. So that was monumental in his life, and anybody that we've seen that has any type of stardom, it was kind of that, fork in the road, and that must have been his fork in the road, because then he was able to, seems like he was able to kind of use some of his creativity and some of that pain he had and turn that into comedy. Was that anything that you seen on that documentary, Will?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I recommend you guys watch it. It's free on YouTube. I am Richard Pryor, or I am Pryor. I think it's I am Richard, but it's free. It's like 90 minutes. And it's one of those things where they talk about even him. Like, I think there's a Diane Sawyer clip in there because, he's interviewing with her. But they talk about all that. They talk about the trouble, the turbulent moments. And they even talk about how he was catering. I guess not really catering, but they put him in front of the white audiences, and he was clean cut, and he was wearing suits, and he was delivering to white audiences. But then he but he knew, it's like, okay, now I need to break into. It's like, I need more of us in the audience. I need to bring the comedy to us. Now I need to rip off this tailored Richard Pryor you want me to present, and that's not me. It's like, man, and like Tiffany Haddish said, you want comedy to relate to the audience. You want them to know, hey, this was painful for me, or this was embarrassing for me, but I'm gonna turn it into a joke. I'm gonna laugh at it. Right. And how many people can relate? I really recommend you watch it. It came out in 2019. I didn't know about it. I stumbled upon it. I actually watched it a few months ago before I even knew that we were going to even talk about Richard. So if you got time to watch it, it's free on YouTube. It's called I Am Richard Pryor, or I Am Richard. It's nice. It's good. Now, some of it I feel like I'm like, of course you're going to go after his downfalls. It's kind of like you got to have that in there. But no, I think they tried to honor him as much as possible. Like, Howie Mandel was in there. They were just talking about how, like, hey, what is a Jewish kid? Like, how can I relate to a guy like this? And I'm a Jewish kid, and he's of a different diaspora. And, like you said, Seinfeld was inspired. You read off a few other people that were inspired. And you can always pick and pull what you want and what works, what fits into your comedy. Nobody tell you, you don't have to be Paul Mooney out here, but you can pick from Paul Mooney, or you can pick from, Flip Wilson and things like that. Like, you can pull these things and weave them into your own,
Right. And that was like when Bill Burr was talking at the Eddie Murphy tribute, and he was like, I came and let's try to do some Eddie Murphy jokes. So I mean, you get so inspired that you try to mimic it, but then eventually you get into what your style is. And so, I definitely think anybody that you're inspired by, you still got to change it and make it into your own.
I hate to do this because of after watching the Michael movie, is there a Prince and Michael Jackson of the comedy world? Like, is Richard Pryor, is he Prince or is he Michael Jackson? Is Bill Cosby Prince? I mean, because Bill Cosby, of course, but Bill Cosby, you know, he also did the stand up. He's got a chair and he's front and center. Or is it what's it, Dick Gregory? You know, I don't know. You know, is there a, you know, I don't know. Maybe H-Rap can speak on that. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, H-Rap.
Like Bill Cosby and Richard would be the Prince of Michael Jackson of comedy. You can even see it today. In today's comedy, you got people like Sinbad. You got people like Ali Sadiq. They'll lean toward the Bill Cosby kind of, even though Ali uses profanity, but he still is a unique story. He draws you into who he is via story. Richard does the exact same thing, and some people will call it vulgarity, but I don't. I call it blue comedy. I call it in your face comedy, and like I said, like I was saying, it's therapeutic almost. It lets you know, hey man, you lived a tough life. You've gone through some certain circumstances that help shape you, and it's okay. You can live through that. And Richard did that. Richard even had this moment where he was bombing in San Francisco, and he was at this LGBTQIE event, but they wasn't called that then. But it was just a gay rally, and he started bombing, and he just went there. I mean, he went ballistic, and it was not polite. It was not comedy. He was just an angry dude on stage. Like, he started calling them F words and things like that. It was, you know, and he just let you know, hey man, I'm a human being as well.
Right.
And this is what the evolution of comedy became. It's almost like, again, another one of my entertainment loves, hip hop culture. It was ha, and it was in your face. It was back and forth, and then Rakim created what we call a flow. It allowed you to it allowed you to speak your mind without being choppy and in your face and stop and go. It was like poetic, and that's what Richard did for comedy.
And to H-Rap's point, where he's talking about where he's speaking to the community, that clip that in the background in the suit with the white shirt, white button down, that's that event that H-Rap is talking about. He's speaking at that event. That's why I said he was like at some kind of I don't know, amphitheater or something, and they asked him to be there, and it wasn't really jokey. I mean, he was just like, look, man. He came out and he was just laying it all out. I mean, he was pretty pissed, but he was getting his point across. It was like, let me speak freely for a minute, you know, kind of like the old hip hop song, let me clear my throat, you know. Right.
Went there, and a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't appreciate it, but the beauty in it is, you know, through pain, it's, you know, like they say, the rose comes through the concrete. You know, the person that wasn't supposed to make it, that made it, and he made it possible for, you know, when you listen to comedians today, I don't want to knock him, but he one of the dudes who's the most respected comics in the world today. If you listen to some old Richard Pryor material and you listen to some early D.L. Hughley material, you listen to the same dude. I mean, he's actually used his joke. If you watch Def Jam, it's this dude named Teddy Carpenter. Teddy Carpenter used to, you know, he back in comedy now. He used to be hilarious, but he did this whipping joke. It was a Richard Pryor joke. I remember me and my man Craig, we were watching it and we were like, really? But because people never look back, you can steal all you want from Richard, and nobody knows it. I mean, it's insane. Even Eddie mentions early in his career, he said his whole bit was taking a dump. That's an actual Richard Pryor bit. It's not like Eddie invented that bit. He said, I was taking a dump. He said, I squeezed my butt cheeks. Don't you hate when the water? And Richard has a bit talking about that. Yeah. So it's not that they influenced him. They just taking it and recycling it. Even the greats. It's like Rich did it. And you mentioned Paul Mooney a second ago. He doesn't get the credit he deserves because he was helping Richard write some of this stuff. Right. It's all about delivery as well. You know.
Yeah. Because anybody can write a joke, but how you, like you just said, how you deliver that joke, how you make it funny, because you could tell a joke and somebody else tells it that it may not be as funny. Yeah. All right, let's get into this next clip and then we'll come right back. Tribute to Richard Pryor. Those of you tuning in, join in, share your favorite moment, share your favorite movie clip or comedy. So let's go.
Hey! Anybody in there?
Hey, the look on his face, and that's like the facial expressions, and that's from the film Adios Amigos. Richard Pryor, Fred Williamson. I know it's your favorite actor, A-Trap.
The Hammer, baby. You gotta love the Hammer, baby.
And that was let me see what that was. What year was that? That was 1975. And so he was about 10 films in at that time from his first film, which is 1967. But just how the non-verbal acting, you could be a good comedian, you could be a good comedic actor, but to be able to do it on screen is different. And that was a funny clip right there.
Yeah, man, Rich is amazing, and he doesn't get enough credit for his ability to write as well. A movie that most people considered, and we covered it earlier this year when we did the Mel Brooks thing, Blazing Saddles. Even though Rich got kicked off the set for being high and getting high, they was like, we ain't letting him be on the screen. And he was really Johnny Fontaine at that point. He helped write Blazing Saddles, a movie that people consider the funniest movie in the world. And I don't know for sure, but one joke in particular, I'm almost sure Richard Pryor wrote, is when Cleavon Jones was about to get mobbed by he was the black sheriff in a all white town, and they were about to mob him. And Cleavon Jones pulls out a gun and puts it to his head. He said, "One more move and the nigga dies."
Yeah.
Richard Pryor wrote that joke, man.
I was about to say, yeah, man. It got to be.
And he had a gun to his own head and backed himself out of the mob. That's not anybody but, you can see when you find out Richard Pryor helped write that movie, you go, and he wrote that joke.
That's how I feel about Samuel Jackson when they use the N-word. Samuel Jackson, I don't care, man. Go ahead, man. Write it in there, man. But yeah, once again, watch that documentary on YouTube because they go into how early his movies, they were like sometimes he was improv. Like he wasn't even doing the script. Like he was just feeding off of what the other person was doing and just improvisation at that moment. He was just kind of doing whatever. So it was pretty crazy. That documentary is, I don't know. It's because the 2019 is gonna feel like it's just kind of thrown together in a blender. But I thought it was done pretty good. But just like what A-Traps was saying, it's like he doesn't get enough credit for being a writer, and even probably being I don't know if I'm sure he's directed some things, but it's like it's one of those things. His mind is a well of knowledge, and it's because of, unfortunately, he had these terrible experiences, but he's learned how to ricochet or bounce off of those experiences and turn it into something that, hey, I can relate. I can joke about, or maybe I can, get some help writing this joke, and somebody's gonna get it. Tiffany Haddish spoke a lot about that in that documentary. Omar Epps was in that documentary, so it was definitely pretty interesting in how they felt about it.
Yeah. And speaking of the films or things that he's written, and also starred in, he was the co-writer of Blazing Saddles. So there you go. Live and Smoking, he was that was a stand-up film, so he was a writer on that. And then Live in Concert, obviously he was a writer on that. Bustin' Loose, he was a producer and writer. And then let's see, all of his stand-ups, he was a producer and writer. JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. That just sound funny right there.
That's
He was the
loosely
producer and
based
writer
on
on that.
his life.
What'd you say?
That's loosely based on his life.
Okay.
That's a movie. It's on Amazon Prime currently. If you really want to get to know who Richard Pryor is, you watch JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. And it starts, it's one of those films that starts off at the end.
Mm.
And then when
Play.
it ends, he's on live on Sunset Strip.
Mm.
And JoJo Dancer starts off, it walks you through his life. Well, he's a child in a brothel, sees a lot of chaotic things, like the lady who plays Myra from Martin.
Mm-hmm.
She's in that movie. She says one of the funniest lines in that movie, and she makes the statement like they had a white guy at the brothel. She was like, "Get this MF out of here. I'm sick of this MF. He crazy. They want me to pee on him. I said, not piss." And I was like, it's hilarious, dog. And it
Debbie Allen is in that too.
Huh?
Debbie Allen is in that.
Debbie Allen is in that. And I think Debbie Allen's character is loosely based on his relationship with a woman who's universally known as one of the finest black women in the history of the world, Pam Grier. Him and Pam Grier had a tumultuous relationship to the point where Pam Grier speaks about how Brother Pryor used cocaine so frequently that it messed up her ovaries because he would have it all over his body. It sterilized her.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Rich had problems, brother. Rich up there. Rich is
the documentary talks about that. It was. Oh no, yeah. He talks about how he sat down at the table with his grandmother, and she was like, "What's that you putting up your nose?" He's all, "I'm just hitting a little coke." And then she was like, "Oh, praise, oh Lord, take me now, Jesus. Oh Lord, take me now." But he just openly used coke. Yeah. I mean, it was, I always joke with my son. I was like, always add coke to the joke, because coke gonna throw him off every time. If you joke about coke, man, they're gonna be like, it's still gonna be like, "Hey man, nah, man." Yeah. Coke has still got you in the chokehold, man.
Right. Hey, when you think of Rick James, man, what that done, what it did to Rick James, what it did to any, I'm not gonna say any, but a lot of artists during that time, like we've talked about. You got a guy on the that works on the staff that is supplying them with this. You got the record label like, look, we want them to make the best music possible. There you go. Yeah. We want them to make the best music possible. And the best music they make is when they high on this. So they bringing it. I mean, so it was infiltrated. Now, I don't know his introduction to it. I don't know if either one of y'all know his introduction to it. But, for him, it's the thing about DMX, too. It's one of them things you can't. It's hard. It's hard to kick that habit.
Yeah, man. I mean, that era, you saw coke do away with people like Ike Turner. You see how it damaged Sly Stone. You see George Clinton talks about how he was abusing cocaine and barbiturates and crack even. Yeah. Hallucinogenics. And me and Wilkes, you and Doc were gone that week. Me and Wilkes even spoke about how it seems like some of the most political people in entertainment, somehow they got put in that, and that was put in front of them, and it was probably introduced like a social drug. If you really want to get a chance to understand where me and Wilson is coming from, watch this movie called Body and Soul. It's a character played by a guy by the name of Leon Isaac Kennedy. And Leon Isaac Kennedy is a offshoot. He's a combination Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was actually in the movie, but he was Sugar Ray Leonard because he was the guy who was supposed to be a doctor. And he was Muhammad Ali because he was a big mouth and he was a boxer. And the entertainment industry or the boxing world's head guy, played by Peter Lawford from the Brat Pack, from the Brat Pack, he had his guy use their weaknesses against them. He shot women at Leon Isaac and had Jane Kennedy walk on him having a threesome. This was a woman he allegedly loved, and damn, it ruined his life. And his manager, which was also his best friend, he loved a party. He said, "We got something special for you, man." And when I was a child, I thought it was just marijuana. I thought it was LSD. But what it ended up, as an adult watching it back in January, it was crack.
Yeah.
It was crack cocaine. And he said, "I'm gonna give you this free base." And if you don't know, back in like that's why people in the crack epidemic. Nah, this is something that was put on poor or working class people who are living in survival mode, attempting to escape. So when you say, "Hey man, you should know better," nah, you shouldn't, because this is a chemical. This is a chemical substance that was put upon people purposely. Again, don't get me wrong. I don't make excuses for anyone. If you lay a bunch of bowls of poison in front of somebody's house that says poison, everybody come out, look at the box, say poison, and you eat it. Yeah, you technically killed yourself, but where did the bowls come from? And that's what I always say.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so like we talked about, he was inspired by Bill Cosby, and he began a middlebrow comic. So I got that's the clean comic style, appearing on the Ed Sullivan Show, the Merv Griffin, the Tonight Show, Johnny Carson. And then in 1967, he had what he described in his autobiography as an epiphany. And he walked on the stage at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas, looked at a sold-out crowd, and said, "What the F am I doing here?" and that was kind of his kind of introduction. His parents died. His mother 1967, his father 1968. And then he kind of broke away from that Cosby style. 1969, he ended up moving to Berkeley. And that's when he met Huey P. Newton and Ishmael Reed. And then that kind of goes into his kind of breakout, which is like 1970 to 1979. But let's get into this next clip, and then we'll come right back.
Holy Jesus! Holy Jesus! Boy, I done turned into a freak just like his mama. Oh, God, have mercy. Ain't it, man? God, you... Damn, man, man, you sure is built.
Think I'll turn in. I'm beat.
You sure is beat. Get that whoop in that other chain there and follow me on in the kitchen.
He's like, damn, you sure is built.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, it just shows you the comedic genius of this dude. And even though, if I don't know of anybody in the history of the world that more people sing his praises, and I still don't think he get his praises sang loud enough and long enough. And if the dude I was gonna make the connection with is like a lot of people don't know Richard Pryor. He walked. It's two people I was gonna speak up. Richard Pryor walked. He did the Dave Chappelle thing. He had the sketch comedy show. He one of the clips when he was the president. That's from his version of Dave Chappelle. And he walked away from NBC. Look, this is on NBC. This ain't Comedy Central, where you got to have cable to see it. This is a nationally televised show on Friday nights. And Friday nights in television used to be the spot.
Right.
And he walked away from it. He forced them to fire him. And then he walked away and he said, "I don't need y'all. I'll just do stand-up and I'll get paid that way." He was so good at it that Warner Brothers said, "Well, they might be mad at you. But all these albums you selling for us?" And they gave him a $20 million deal. And at the time, $20 million was some epic number. And he only made 2 mistakes, which makes me think about him in the movie Grease Lightning. Wilson speaking about what he was supposed to be the first black race car driver, loosely based on that. And 2 biggest mistakes Richard Pryor ever made. Three biggest mistakes he ever made in his career with the cocaine was the biggest. And the other 2 big mistakes was passing up on Purple Rain and The Color Purple. Because he said, "Man, nobody want to hear those stories no more." And he looked at Prince like, "Come on, dog, knock it off." And just imagine, had Richard Pryor been the producer of Purple Rain and The Color Purple, he would be celebrated even more.
Yeah. True. True. Yeah, it would have been even bigger. And I mean, it was already big as it is. It would have been even. We would have talked about him more than what we talked about him now. Yeah. Wilkes, you got anything on that?
Just the one thing is like he was saying, it's like he was already laying the blueprint. As H-Rap was speaking, and I'm just kind of, going off in my space. It's like he doesn't get enough praise because look at the sketch comedies. Look at the characters he's creating. Look how many times we've seen Martin. Look how many times we've seen in Living Color. We've seen Saturday Night Live. He's got to be the blueprint. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not even talking about some of the white actors that started making characters. I'll even be bold enough to say, look at Hee Haw. Where did Hee Haw get that? Where did Hee Haw get that motivation from? It's got to be Richard Pryor element. Richard Pryor going into different comedic characters, going into different roles. And then I'm thinking about Tyler Perry at this point, like Medea. There's got to be some type of influence there from that. And like you said earlier, Ben, about the clumps. He's playing all these different characters, and then look what he's doing. Have we ever? I mean, I can't remember the first time I've seen split screen. You thought that was something crazy. You got him. He's in an image. It looks like he's on him and him are together in one thing. Like I don't know what movie or when they started doing that, but it's like, is Richard Pryor? Is he a student of that? A father of that? I don't know.
I mean, at that point, that was like revolutionary. That was like AI.
Right. Thank you.
That was like the internet.
How are the two of him? How is he doing this character and doing this character?
Right.
Hats off to the editing team. Who's laying that together like that?
Right.
So as H-Rap was saying, I mean, he doesn't get his praise preached and shouted and talked about enough because, I mean, sketch comedy. I mean, is he the father of sketch comedy, I guess? I mean, can I say that tonight? I don't know. I'd have to research it, but
let me pull you off.
Wilkes mentioned Saturday Night Live. I just sent you something. I meant to send it the other night when I sent the other clips. This is one of the most legendary clips in the history of sketch comedy. And it's on Saturday. And ironically, Wilkes mentioned Saturday Night Live. It's on Saturday Night Live. And it predate, I wouldn't say he's the author of sketch comedy because you still had the Flip Wilson show that preceded him, and you still had his show that was after Saturday Night Live. But it's a lot of things like you got Dr. J and you got David Thompson, and you had Connie Hawkins. They're the architect of the dunk. And you got Michael Jordan, who perfected it. And Richard would be the Michael Jordan of the dunk. Mm-hmm. Michael Jordan didn't invent dunking from the free throw line. Dr. J did. Michael Jordan didn't invent celebrating hang time. Dr. J did. Michael Jordan wasn't the first dude that was dunking on people. Daryl Dawkins was, and Connie Hawkins was. But when Mike did it, the whole world sat back and said, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, it was shut down.
Yeah, it was like we ain't gonna see anything better than this. And unlike Mike, but just like Mike, some people have challenged it. Eddie came along and challenged it. Damon Wayans came along and challenged it. But they are still reading they're cheating off Richard's paper.
And real quick, let me just drop this in while H-Rap is making that point. Robert Townsend is definitely in that conversation.
Yeah. Hey, let's get to that SNL clip. Actually, it's loading right now. But when you think of that, it's nothing better than to make your impact, and your impact goes decades. Your impact goes while you're here, while you're gone, and 10, 20 years after you're gone. Like that's the amazing perfection of your craft that people gravitate towards and want to be like. Let me give a shout out to Lynn Harper. Thank you for tuning in. Host of the Dysfunctional Disciple. He said these are facts. Appreciate you, as well as Walter Strong. Thank you for the thumbs up and the like. Theodore, thank you as well. All right, so I got that loaded up. Let's go to this clip, and then we'll come right back. Clip, but that's classic. Him and Chevy Chase, like, wow. Both of them on the screen. Talk about that clip, HR. Let me take it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about, bro. That is classic Rich. It's just, I'm gonna take everything, and then you have to remember or realize, if you're younger, you're not old enough, the racial tension in the 70s. The 70s is the decade after the 60s. People, even though it's obvious, numeric in regards to numbers, but people don't think about how much racial tension was in the 70s, because they show you this partying situation, but it was a lot of racial tension in the 70s, and he took all that racial tension, and in 2 minutes he put it in front of the world and made you laugh at how foolish we look. And this is why, like you said, in 10 years and 20 years and 30 years, it's been 50 years since that clip. I mean, as a matter of fact, it's been 50 years since that, and it's still just as funny, just as poignant, and we're still having the same thing. So, as you stated, when you show love for Richard Pryor, when you admire his work, this love and adoration will go on into perpetuity. It's not going to be a short-lived situation.
Right, and it's been almost 21 years since he passed away, 2005. So yeah, man, you think of all of the things he's done, and then we haven't even gotten to the Muppet Babies and just doing some of that type of comedy. And Sesame Street, he was on there for 4 episodes. Mm-hmm. He did Pryor's Place, which was kind of like it was a children's television show. Mm-hmm. I mean, so the amount of things he did, it's impacted in so many different ways. Go ahead, Wooks. You want to say something?
Yeah, actually, it was one of those things. That clip, and I'm gonna bring it full circle for me. Now, obviously, that clip was in syndication when I was born in '81. So, yeah. But just to think about Samuel Jackson when he finally hosted SNL, and he dropped that F-bomb, and how Lauren Michael, once again, like I said, when Samuel Jackson when he's in these movies, I was like, oh, that's a Samuel Jackson move. But it's just like, hey, I don't care, man. Do yourself whatever. I don't give a shit. I'll pay the fine later. Right. Right. So I'm sure when he dropped that F-bomb on live TV, SNL, Lauren Michaels was probably like, oh, it's a flashback to when, Pryor and Chevy, when they went at it. So to bring it full circle, once again, it's like Sam's going to do what Sam does. Pryor going to do what Pryor do. Let me write this script. Let me write this skit. Let me produce this skit, whatever it is. And Chevy going to be the guy to like, okay, I'm going to go along with it, whatever. So just watching that moment right there and thinking about, of course, he's already got skits done under his belt and all that, and albums and all that, movies. Just a classic, iconic. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that clip, and in the clip in different segments, whether it was a tribute to SNL, whether it was a tribute to, whoa, what the hell did we just see on live TV?
Right, exactly.
In the 70s. Right. What are we doing?
Right.
So once again, it's one of those things where that clip will forever be groundbreaking. It will forever be a lightning rod for comedy. Like, it's like, I'm sure people were watching that. If you pulled up some of the best comedians, even if you dug them out of the grave or whatever, and played that clip, even their minds were probably like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Like, wow. And two of the top comedians at that time.
Right.
This was 1975. He was
wasn't even on there that long.
Yeah.
Chase wasn't even on there long because him and Murray and all the egos that were coming along on blew up. Like for a year or something. It was like it's just it's crazy. Iconic.
Go ahead, A-Trap, you gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with everything Will said, man. And only thing I would differ from, I would take away from change with that what Will said is the N-word wasn't as inflammatory on TV at that point. We've moved into the sensitive era in which we can't laugh. Even the inflammatory things we should be able to laugh at. Bigotry, racism, hatred. We should start laughing at it, and then it'll probably dissipate. We heighten our sensitivity towards it, and now it's a buzz. It's a
buzzword.
But I mean, dude, during that same decade, Red Fox used that word at least twice on Sanford and Son. Roscoe Lee Brown jumped up and started doing karate on Sanford and Son. It's 72, 73. Be 72, 75, between 72 and 75. He jumped up and started doing karate. And Red Fox said, man, that N-word's crazy. And they said they had to redo that 27 times because every time they got back to that point, everybody would just fall out laughing. And they just used it. They just said, look, we ain't going to get through this. Just use that, and then we'll go from there. And then he said, in another instance, he said, look at all these N-words in this courtroom. There's enough N-words to make a Tarzan movie. And they was like, oh, my God. And I remember showing that to my son, BJ. I was watching Sanford Son, and I just paused the TV. I said, B, come here. He came downstairs. I said, look at this, man. Anything strange about this? He didn't see it coming. And he was like, what did he say? I was like, yeah, that's what TV was when I was a kid. He said, they let you say it? I was like, yeah, on TV, yeah. But it wasn't this inflammatory thing. It was just equally offensive as you saw. It was equally, you knew not to do that, but it was like, hey, man, hey, it might get you a $15,000 raise.
And it wasn't one of those words. They didn't. I'm sure they probably had the what is that? The FDC.
Yeah.
They had it, but that just wasn't one of those words that you couldn't say.
But even
and like A-Trap was saying, I'll never forget a Jefferson episode where George had saved this white man's life because he was already racist. He was a bigot, but he had choked her. He had a heart attack. Something had happened. And George had to give him mouth to mouth. He was like, oh, that man saved your life. And he said, that N-word, you should just let me die. The man would rather die than have George Jefferson save his life. And we're not even talking about Archie Bunker. We don't even started on.
Yeah. And how many people thought like that? Like, I'll rather die on the side of the road than for somebody to give me mouth to mouth or to give me the Heimlich. I'd rather choke on that piece of chicken than for somebody to save me. Which is
So it was not very inflammatory. It wasn't like, oh gosh, it rolled off smoothly. But like A-Trap said, if we get back to laughing at it and chuckling at it and being hilarious, that's why he was like honky and redneck and all this. Because if we have to we got to get back to making fun of one another, but in a joking sense, where it's just like, hey man, because honestly, that's a blanket of the government doesn't get us. We have to get ourselves. The government don't give a damn about what we're doing.
Yeah.
So comedy was always that blanket of, this is who we really are. We got to laugh. We got to joke. We got to tease each other. We all we got. Because guess what? There's no poor people running the country.
Right.
There's no middle class running the country. These people have wealth beyond wealth. Riches beyond riches. Running the country, telling you what to do, what to eat, what pills you need to take. Don't take those pills. So it's one of those things where it's like, as a people, we got. We got to make jokes. We got to be able to poke fun, the village idiot, whatever you want to call it. Because the figureheads, the higher-ups, management, they good. Yeah. They good.
They can care less.
All right. Thank you. So comedy was always going to be that thing. I mean, look at some of your movies if you're in the medieval. Yeah, the king and the queen are high up in the castle, but you still have a city, towns. You have low.
You got work. You got the working people. You got the working class.
You still have, even though you got a kingdom, that castle wall, within those castle walls, you still have poor, middle class, dumb, blind, whatever you want to call it, well-to-do businessmen, people trying to shuck and jive and whatever. It's the same thing. The king and queen gonna be good up in their house, but it's the people, the peasants, the people of your kingdom that you built on their backs.
Right.
Rich made a career on that, man. If you ever get the chance, man, if you really want to know how great Richard Pryor was, the jokes were wonderful. The delivery is awesome. The commentary is insane, man. Watch him on the Merv Griffin show. Watch him on Johnny Carson. Watch him on A Myriad of Things, in which he spoke about civil unrest caused by everything that Wilkes just said. He spoke about the civil unrest. He said, man, we got to keep laughing. He said, but the people at the top, they don't want us to laugh. Mm-hmm. He said, because if we laugh, we're going to start seeing how much we got in common. If we see how much we have in common, we're going to start fighting. And if we start fighting, then they ain't going to get paid. He said, who? He said, the greedy people.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
This 10 minutes ago, I stated that he Malcolm X with jokes. But if you look at his audience, you got Latino people. Look, George Lopez, favorite comedian, Richard Pryor. My man, Carlin, favorite comedian, Richard Pryor. Every black comedian in the history of the world, favorite comedian, Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor. They're all said too. They're all said.
What's his name? The Asian cat. Toy
Yo Coy.
Yo Coy, favorite comedian, Richard Pryor. The Asian lady, favorite comedian, Richard Pryor. Come on, man. You can get all uptight with the N-word. And I know y'all thinking, when H-Rock start saying N-word, I tell y'all in the after show fist fight. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's just we get to the point, man. We've gotten to the point where everything is offensive. No, man, some of these things that come out of our mouths are jokes. And if you can't stop and laugh at yourself, don't be laughing at nobody else, man. I don't want to hear anything about no laughter. If I can't laugh at rap, you know what I mean? And ironically, man, my late cousin Vincent and my cousin Michael, they're close to me like my brothers. Do you know we used to call it signifying here in Chicago? Some people call it snapping and joning now.
Yeah.
We used to literally capping. We used to literally turn the TV off and wear each other out. And to the point where, like, my nails grow flat. Like most people have a curve on their nail. Mine grow flat. For about 2 years, like LL Cool J came out this song called Dear Yvette. And they started calling me Birth Defect to that same beat. Like, what's up, Birth? And even every once in a while, before he was murdered, my cousin Vince would call me and say, what up, Birth? And we would just, yeah, I got you. And it was because if you can't laugh at yourself, you really need to stay in the house, stay in that bubble, and you don't need any growth because the world is tough. And that's something else that Pryor and all comedians teach you.
Right.
The world tough, man. It ain't easy. It ain't fun.
Mm-mm. And you got to be able to roll with it. That was probably my in high school. I was, all throughout elementary to high school, I was teased all the time. And then when I get to high school, I was like, "Hey, well, you got this on." And then from there on, it was over with. Like you gotta have a back and forth. That's just a part of growing up. So let's get to another clip. This one is the top 10 of Richard Pryor that somebody put together. So let's get to that one.
They finish talking, you be saying, shit, I gotta get my ass back there. We got all that shit in America? Guy said, you can eat 24 hours a day in America. I said, yeah, that motherfucker right. You got some money or a pistol, you can get something to eat.
Oh, my father would just say things that make you pee on yourself.
That's tough.
Yeah,
tough guy.
He could call my name, Richard!
Was it just fear?
Huh? Yes, it was plain fear.
In other words, your mother...
My mother was cool. My mother was cool because she knew she could tell him. She would look at me and go, I'm going to tell your father. Good God, I need a little help down here in the sales department. And God answered me. He said, Reverend Elmo. He always calls me by my first name. He said, Reverend Elmo, I'm sending you somebody. He said, I'm sending you somebody. Not just anybody. Cheetah, man, is the weirdest thing to see go chase something because you don't see nothing but dust. I saw two cheetah and it looked like they were talking about jumping on some gazelle. There you go. You want to go after that herd? Say, nah, man, they too close, shit. Why don't we give them another 100 yards? How's the wife and family, man? You know, John, I got to go to the doctor because I can't see out of his eye and it's going blind, you know. So I'm going to the hospital and losing weight and stuff. I can't gain it back. And then the next day, this lady from the newspaper called one of my ex-wives and said, what do you think's wrong with Richard? She said, I think he has AIDS. Guaranteeing that I will not get no sex to the year 2025.
I don't want to die.
And man, they're great.
And that right there, man. That scene right there is the quintessential Richard Pryor. Like, most of us, we would say, man, I ought to whoop dude. But a lot of us would think, well, maybe I should put his hand back in because I don't want to die. He in here until Jesus get back for killing somebody. So, it's just he takes the most simple thing and makes it hilarious. Yeah, and that's the beauty in him, and that was the beauty in him. And we have thousands of people that make us laugh because of him. You know, like I said, George, come on, dog, George Lopez. I can't think of this Asian woman. I can't think of her name. She's funny. I mean, Bill Burr. He mentioned how Eddie inspired him, but Eddie got his inspiration from Rich.
Yeah. You talking about Ali Wong?
Yeah, Ali Wong. Yes, that lady is hilarious, man. You know, Patrice O'Neal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just saying the most ridiculous thing and taking, like, Patrice O'Neal, he did something in one of his acts, one of his skits, or bits, as they call it. He took feminism and shoved it up in women's face. He said, hey, if you lost your vagina, for what would be the way you would keep your man? And women start yelling out, anal, oral, and, you know, and he said, then they yelled out all this sexual stuff. And he was like, and not one of y'all, he said, y'all up here criticizing me for being misogynist. Not one of y'all said, learn better jokes, learn how to play Xbox. He said, you reduced yourself to a series of holes, and you mad because I'm telling these jokes. That's Richard Pryor, man. It came out of Patrice O'Neal's mouth. That's Richard Pryor, man.
Listen to the names that were on the Richard Pryor show. The cast. Robin Williams. Paul Mooney. Marsha Warfield. John Witherspoon. Sandra Bernard. Tim Reed. That's just that is just, and not to mention the guest people that showed up. That was just the cast.
Just the cast.
Those people are on the payroll. I mean, who can LaWanda Page? Shirley Hemphill? Like, from What's Happening? Big Shirley?
John, did you say John Witherspoon?
John Witherspoon, yes. Matter of fact, he's in the skit where he's playing the black president. He's in the press. He's the press conference. He got the afro and he's sitting on the end. And the white dude stood up and said something, and John Witherspoon was like, "Oh."
Let's go ahead and play that right now. What are we talking about?
Yo, Blood. Yeah, Brother Bell from Ebony Magazine. Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Select a line.
All right. What you looking at, Snow White? Brother, about blacks in the labor force. I want to know what you're going to do about having more black brothers as quarterbacks in the National Football Hunter League. Okay. Right on.
I plan not only to have lots of black quarterbacks, but we're going to have black coaches and black owners of teams. As long as it's going to be football, going to be some black in it somewhere.
Right on.
Doing something bad.
All right.
Because I'm tired of this mess that's been going down.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ever since the Rams got rid of James Harris, I've been my job in up top. You know what I'm talking about? So we're going to get down on the case now.
Right on.
Yeah, what is it?
Mr. President.
Yeah, what?
Mr. Bigby, Mississippi Herald.
Sit down. Yeah, what is it?
Mrs. Fenton Carlton Macker, Christian Women's News. Mr. President, since you've become president, you've been seen and photographed on the arms of white women. Quite frankly, sir, you've been courting an awful lot of white women. Will this continue?
As long as I can keep it up. I mean, why do you think they call it the White House?
Mr. President. Yeah. Now, your predecessor, President Carter, now his mother was a nurse before
What is your question about, sir?
My question, I'm leading up to my question. The question is about your mother, if you want to be...
It's okay. Please, let's take it easy. The man has a right to ask the question. Please. Let's have some decorum here. Now, what is the question about my dear mother? Okay.
Now, your mother was a maid in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Now, after your tenure, if your mother goes back to being a maid, right? Will your mama do my house?
Man, that is greatness, man. That's from that show was in 1977 is when it premiered. Mm-hmm. And we laughing right now like it came out yesterday.
And real quick, I left one guy out. John Belushi was in the cast.
Wow.
This only had one season, so you know where he ended up after that. The skit didn't stay on, the show didn't stay on that long.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where there's a lot of people that came from that brainchild to move on and carry those things that they were already. I mean, think about trying to hone your craft and you run into somebody like Richard Pryor and he's like, "Hey, I got a spot for you. I got something that I think you'll run with this." I'm sure Paul Mooney felt the same way. He's like, "Hey, I know you've been writing and producing, but I got something else I want to do for you real quick." I can't even imagine the conversations. I can't even imagine. I mean, the plethora and the whale of knowledge.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
Recently, rappers are being excoriated recently for using Richard Pryor jokes. And just to show you the ignorance of people, it's the ignorance of people not knowing their history, and it's the lies that people will tell to be put out in front. Biggie has been called gay. He said, because one of his lines, "When I first met you, my first thought was the trick. You look so good. I suck on your daddy's. Right?
Yeah.
That's Richard Pryor, man. He said the woman looks so good, I suck her daddy off to get with her. That's Richard Pryor. And Lord Jamal, who's 2 years older than me, who I know knows he was gay. I'm like, knock it off, man. That's Richard Pryor. But it's
and that really just started circulating around like the past year to 2 years.
And let me show you how popular and Richard Pryor was, and how we wasn't really giving a darn about your lifestyle. Richard Pryor, it is a part of a bit that he literally says this. He was talking about Paul Mooney. He was like, yeah, he was there when I hit my first pump. Meaning, the first time I slept with a man, Paul Mooney was there. What he said was so funny. Anybody even realized he said, I just slept with a man.
Yeah.
I slept with a man for the first time while Paul Mooney was standing there.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. And then to show you again how we wasn't focusing on sexuality, and we were focusing on the funny and the people, enjoying the people. That show that Will's talked about, you go to the internet right now, the Richard Pryor show only lasted 5 weeks. 5 weeks. Wow. I remember one time he was standing there and he was supposed to be naked and he didn't have a penis. He was saying that they castrated me doing this show. But when they did this, they did a roast. And everybody came up on stage, Marshall Warfield, Robert Williams, John Witherspoon, they all came up on stage and was killing Richard. And Richard came up after all of them killing him, and he killed all them. And he called Paul Mooney Miss Thing. So it was like, so it's just, dude, we lived in a world at one point that we understood satire and we understood comedy. I mean, with satire, and we understood the reality of things. Comedy helped bridge the gap between reality and entertainment. And the last thing that we had that was like that was the Boondocks.
Yeah.
And to A-Trap's point, the Richard Pryor show only had 4 episodes to his 5 weeks. Because you're going to spread it out. You ain't going to have nothing new back to back. You got to sketch right. You got other stuff going on in between. You mean to tell me, out of 4 episodes, 5 weeks, you got all this knowledge and talent, and he pulled, well, it's not that he pulled, David Chappelle pulled what he pulled. He walked away from NBC. At that time, NBC is a juggernaut. We've got Lauren Michael, we got SNL already. Here's another tidbit people didn't realize. We also have In Living Color on NBC until they moved to Fox. They don't talk about that part. Because Kenan started out on SNL. They didn't want to go with what he wanted to do. So Damon, yeah. Damon started out, but they didn't want what Damon was trying to bring. So he went to his brother. It's like, look, we need to do our own thing. Because they don't want to pay me. They don't want to give me what we coming up with. And I'm gonna pull a Chevy Chase. I'm gonna pull a Bill Murray. I'm leaving. I'm only here for a year. I'm out. I'm gone. Because those egos at SNL were getting too big. You got Bill Murray. Oh, yeah. You've got Chevy Chase. You got John Belushi. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of egos.
Right.
I want to write this. I want to do. I think this is a good idea. Rich is like, look, you don't want my talent. All these people I've assembled, like the Avengers, I've lined up these people that I know, like, hey, man, you're going to be big. You're going somewhere. And if you look at Martin, you look at The Cosby Show, A Different World.
Great example.
In Living Color, Living Single.
Hell, J-Lo was a background, was a dancer on In Living Color.
Was a fly girl.
And where she is now,
and
it's crazy.
And I swear, John Witherspoon played the same character in everything, from House Party to Boomerang.
He made a full
Fresh
career.
Prince, the Boondocks. Like John Witherspoon was. I didn't even mention Friday. Well, Friday 1 and 2.
Two or three films.
Yeah, I mean, he was. So yes, like you said, Richard Pryor is that cauldron of knowledge and wealth, and it could go on forever. I'm sure. I mean, I can't even. Honestly, a person like this probably needs about 3 different documentaries, 5, because it's never going to be
his life.
It's never going to be the same way every time you tell it, because somebody's going to have, just like with the Eddie special. It was just enough, but I'm surprised it was only 90 minutes. But again, it's like you got the gist of the story. So it was kind of like, this is Pryor, this is who you're getting, and he just had that plethora of knowledge and talent. Like I said, they were saying he was kind of off the script. He wasn't even on the script. He's just kind of improvising. Yeah, improvisation. He's
freestyling.
Right.
Yeah, maybe the original freestyle is that comedy when you get up there and you in front of an audience,
right?
And you just laying out the jokes, and then you go to the crowd work.
Right.
Anybody seen that Funny AF on Netflix? They broke down like the different stages of comedy, doing crowd work, doing. You don't have a script. You just going off the top of the head. So
kind of off the dome.
Yeah. Go ahead, A-Truck.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything Will said, man. It's just this dude is so monumental in the world of comedy and entertainment. I mean, think about that, man. What you mentioned a few minutes ago, Ben. One of y'all, I can't remember. I think it was Ben. This dude was on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
You go from talking about intercourse, sexual intercourse, domestic violence. She spoke about domestic violence. He talked about police brutality. He talked about drugs. He talked about oppression, and then you on Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Come on, dog. You go from X-rated to rated. If it was something in front of F, it wasn't even Sesame Street. Wasn't even G. It was F.
Right.
It was just, it's pre.
And he was on 4 episodes, not just one.
Right. He was there. This dude fit into every walk of life. And so, we say it'll never be another. No, it'll never be another Richard, man. It'll never be another Richard, man. Eddie Murphy is the reason Eddie Murphy is my all-time favorite entertainer is because Richard is the generation before me.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciated Richard.
Yeah. He's probably the closest.
But Eddie is, Eddie, my guy. He came up. Eddie and hip hop. That's why I like comedy so much. At one point in my life, my mother would allow me. I changed my name to Eddie Murphy. That's how much I used to like Eddie Murphy. But Richard is the blueprint. I remember when it was look put like this. Eddie Murphy taking off around 82, 83. 2 years later, Dr. J's replacement came named Michael Jordan. And they both became the biggest thing happening. Michael Jordan and Eddie Murphy were the biggest things in the world at one point.
Yeah. So
Richard is the Michael Jackson. He is the James Brown. He's the Richard Pryor of Richard Pryor. There is no, and he was just nothing was just like Michael Jackson. Nothing was just like Richard Pryor. Nothing was just like James Brown. You can emulate it, and it was just no. You're not gonna. It's just every once in a while, we get a comment. He's a Haley's comment, man. He shows up. We've never seen it before, and we'll never see it again. And we just embrace it, and we understand every other comment in the sky. Oh, that's beautiful, but I saw Haley's comment. And that's what Richard is.
Rare.
Haley's comment.
Yeah.
And actually, I did. I saw Hicks coming. Y'all ain't gonna see it no more. It was like 70 years. It was like 50 more years before you see it again. But.
All right, so let's get to some final thoughts. Let's kind of go around the room. Wilkes, final thoughts. Richard Pryor.
The juggernaut. I mean, like I said, he's the DNA of something. Matter of fact, he probably rewrote some things that some people were scared to rewrite or thought that, they might look at me this way or different if I approach it like this. He wasn't scared to go with, and Doc has said it 1,000 times. A man with an experience is never at the mercy of a man with an argument. If Richard Pryor has had these experiences, he's taking these experiences, whether it angered him and he covers it up with a smile or a joke, but it's like deep down inside, like, this really pissed me off. But I'm gonna give it to the people. I'm gonna put it like, as my boy Black Eagle put it where the goats can get it. You know, it's one of those things where Richard Pryor gonna drop those nuggets. I mean, Dick Gregory did the same thing. It was like, I'm gonna drop these nuggets. You get it where you can get it. Apply it where you need to apply it, and run from and run with it. You know, it's like, again, we watched Dave Chappelle walk away from millions with Comedy Central with his show. The man went missing. Didn't even see the man for. Man bulked up. He was when we left. He
was in the gym for them. However how many years he was gone, he was.
Richard Pryor walking away from a juggernaut like NBC. Everything was on NBC. NBC was killing CBS at that time. If you're a student of history,
it was in between. It said it was opposite of Laverne and Shirley and Happy Days, which was on ABC.
He was
going up against
must see TV. Always been NBC. So it's one of those things where I enjoyed it. I'm gonna say it again. Please go watch I Am Richard Pryor on YouTube. It is free. It is. I think it's just I Am Richard or I'm Richard Pryor, but please watch it because it's gonna literally tie in back to what we talked about tonight, just freestyling. And with some of the clips that we remember it had and the movies that we've watched with Richard Pryor and some of his co-actors. But no, I enjoyed this conversation. I like these little tributes. I like it off the hip like that because it's just like, hey, these are my memories. This is what I remember. This is my introduction. This is pure for me. I won't forget it. It's just like if we start talking about Showtime at the Apollo. I already know for me in my house, that entailed helping my grandmother snap peas. I just told my mom the other day, my grandmother would sit in front of the stove and curl her hair. It wasn't no going to the beauty shop. Right. She was curling her hair, getting ready for church. Showtime at the Apollo's for to come on. I remember being that kid, as we saw crisscross applesauce now, but we called it Indian style back in the day. Don't sue me. But once again, like H-Rap said, we get so offended by small things. But Richard Pryor for me is always going to be a lasting memory of my grandfather, my parents. Like I said, people driving down the street listening to Richard Pryor. Let that soak in. Driving down the street listening to 8 tracks of Richard Pryor. Yeah. It's always going to be that special spot for me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, final thoughts, A-Trap.
Everything Will said, and I'll just end it with this. I'll just make it real brief. The greatest entertainer in the history of the world. The most influential entertainer in the history of the world. Because you got movies, you got TV, you got children's stories. You got, he played in the toy where he was hanging out with a little boy.
Yeah,
he was literally hired to be this young man's toy. If
they did that in today, they couldn't do it in today's time.
They couldn't do it today.
It would be too. Yeah.
And if you can pull up that one from state, just if you can close the show out with. When him and Gene Wilder was walking in, and he told him, "Hey man, you better get bad." When he was in jail, he said, "You better get bad.
Yeah.
If you don't get bad, you gonna get fucked."
Yeah, that was
stir crazy.
Stir crazy. I still got it. And here's the graphic for that documentary. It is called I Am Richard Pryor. So I'm definitely gonna watch that. It is free, like Wilkes has been saying all night. It's free on YouTube. Yeah, man. And for me, being a fan of comedy, every comic that's on my list of favorite comics, they pulled something from Richard. and you can just see TV, film, the impact that he made is amazing. And anytime you see him on something, you're gonna stop and watch. He was just one of those people. You stopped and watched. When you towards the end, Harlem Nights, it was still a great. And that was Eddie reaching back and getting Richard into that. So yeah, man, it's just one of the greats. Arguably the greatest comedian, because so many people from all facets were impacted. So I'm glad we did this tonight. We'll be doing a tribute every month. Maybe we'll say the end of the month. So we'll be on the lookout for the next one. But yeah, let's end it on this clip. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate the support. Make sure to like, subscribe, click that notification bell on all the platforms. I'm gonna pull that up here in just a second. And yeah, we're gonna play that Stir Crazy. We're gonna close it out with that. And appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. And we'll see you next week. Here we go.